Whenever you're ready, let me go. And let's see now, you are Jim Tunney, and you and your family have been around the Indianapolis Speedrome for the better part of 60 years?
Something like that. I don't count that anymore.
But I've also trying to remember how many Tunneys there have been that have actually driven race cars. I mean, you've got, what, 3 now?
3, 4, 5, I guess. 6, 7, counting Bruce and Bill and Billy's boys, and then me. So
You were the first or second one?
first,
When did you start?
I don't know, 63, something like that, I think.
Why? What made you go out to the Speedrome and decide to race
Well,
stock?
Bill, my older brother, he had a race car, and the guy that drove it couldn't race one night, and he asked me if I wanted to, and I did. And then after that, that's what I did. Until 85 or 86, I think it was, I quit. But long, hard life.
But it never stopped you. I mean, you, from what I understand, every time you tore it up, you brought it back and you had the family put it back together.
Yeah, that's what we do. It was owned by my brothers to start with, and then I had my own. But yeah, we'd race one night and go home and fix it the next day. And we used to race 3 nights a week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. And we never, that I can remember, ever missed a night. So
Now, the Tunny family, some people say, is the first family. Whoops, standing by.
Oh, just rubbing just a little bit. There we go.
Okay, we'll pick up with that point. I'll pick up with the early thing. And trying it again. The Tunny family had a reputation of being the first family of figure-8 racing at the Indianapolis Speedrome, that crazy novelty racing that a whole bunch of people took really seriously. What was it about figure-8 racing that appealed to everybody that was named Tunny?
well, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we were half crazy or whatever, just like the excitement and the competition, I guess.
But there's some people that are intimidated by figure-8 racing, but your family almost didn't want to do anything else.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I always enjoyed it, but I never was intimidated by it. I guess 20-some years I raced, I was always lucky. I never ever got hurt, so I don't know if it was luck or what, but
Now, that's 2 Tunnies right now, and you had, how many sons and nephews and so forth that were waiting, that would put the cars right back together and could hardly wait to start racing themselves?
well, Bill's 3 boys and Mark's boy, Mark, and then Bill and Bruce, and then my brother Bill, and then my oldest brother Oni, he worked on it some, but it was mainly, when I first started, was Bill, and then Billy and Bruce were just little guys. And it was mainly Bill and I the first year or 2, and then after that it was kind of blended in. Something about repairing them and fixing them and building them and doing all that. We did it all. We built them from ground up.
Those little guys that you mentioned now have gray hair. But I understand you show them tough loves when it came to actually putting the race cars back together.
Right.
You actually made them do most of the
Right.
big work.
Right. It's a lot of work, and you have to be dedicated to it. And in order to do any good at it, you got to be dedicated. And
Not everybody appreciates work, but the Tunnies do.
yeah, it didn't bother me. Of course, anybody, if you're doing something you really like doing, you don't mind doing it. You do whatever it takes to do it. And I don't know what it is.
Now, tell us about the second generation of Tunnies, especially Bill Jr. and so forth, when he started to come around and his family started to come through. What was it like when you started to see the young guys start to get even better than the parents?
Started making me feel old. They had that young blood, and they had more dedication to it, and that's what they wanted to do all the time. As you get older, you just you got a lot of other things in life. I had 4 of my own kids, and they all played sports, and I had to go to that, and I coached some of them, and We had a place at the lake. We had to go to the lake on the weekends, and we just kind of got away from it. And the more I slacked off, the worse I got, so I decided it was time to hang it up. So,
And from what I understand, nobody in the Tunny ever turned down a racetrack. At least none of the males.
no, not really. I never did. But Bill and Bruce and their boys, they're better than I ever was, you know. But I don't know. They're just dedicated to it.
Sometimes people say it's tougher to watch their children or grandchildren race than it is for them to actually be in the car. Is that true?
Well, it probably is. I never had none of my kids or none of my grandchildren ever drove a race car. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough even after you've been racing, and when you quit and then you watch, it's hard to watch it sometimes. I watched Billy and Bruce, and then I watched Bill's three boys and Mark's boy, and watching them and thinking, don't do that, do this, do that, you know. And I just, every year I go to the 3R, usually. I didn't go last year, but that's about the only race I go to anymore. But
Bill Jr., who recently passed away and has been named to the Indianapolis Speedrome Hall of Fame, had an amazing reputation as far as just being a guy that nothing scared him and nothing was too tough for him. People say he was literally the strongest man in Speedrome history.
that's right. That's the truth. He was no bars out all the time. Junior was